Welcome to Fostering Solutions, a podcast that uplifts people and enterprises making positive impact in communities around the world. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Foster. My guest today is Morgan Beals, Morgan Rhea, as she's commonly known. Hi, Morgan, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you, Michelle?
Good. Just wonderful to have you on Fostering Solutions. Why don't you start off by telling the audience about yourself? Who is Morgan Rhea Beals?
Well, I'm an entrepreneur, a designer, and a lover of all things fashion. At an early age, I used to watch I Love Lucy. That was my favorite show. I loved, the laughter that she would bring, the clothing. And growing up, my mom was an account executive for Elizabeth Arden. So I would travel with her. I was always, in the fashion scene. I looked up to her fashion, my grandmother's, my aunts, as well as my dad. And, he was always the fixer of the house, making the yard look amazing. My grandfather, he was a wood turner. And he also had a garden. So I was always surrounded by art and was able to use my imagination. And currently, my husband, Michael, he's a part of that as well. We met at Savannah College of Art and Design. Mm-hmm. So every day we're always in, the fashion world, coming up with new ideas, bouncing things off of each other every day. So in a quick encompass, that's who Morgan Rhea Beals is.
Okay, so it's like you've been surrounded by different forms of art, and it just
yes, I have my whole life.
It formed you into who you are. So why did you decide to become an entrepreneur? Like what pushed you in that direction, and what's your journey been like?
I think it really started after I graduated from Savannah College of Art and Design. My degree was in accessory design, and with graduating, I won an international award for a briefcase I made. And with winning that, I won an apprenticeship at Coach headquarters in New York City. So I was in New York for a few months, and I also made a pair of shoes for John Legend.
The John Legend.
The John Legend.
Awesome.
Yes. So this all kind of happened right when I was graduating. I was also featured with winning that briefcase in InStyle magazine. So this is usually, stuff that happens when you're in business a few years. And this all happened right before I was ready to start. So after being in New York City for a few months, working at Coach, when I worked there, it was great. I learned a lot of industry things, but I was working in a cubicle. So I wasn't really able to design like I wanted to. Mm-hmm. So I came back to my home roots of West Virginia. We started at the Charleston Area Alliance. That's where we had a studio warehouse space. Matt Ballard had reached out to me and he's like, we have warehouse space here. Why don't you come back? And that's where it all started and kind of our journey began there.
Awesome. So how do you go from, designing that briefcase that won the award to designing shoes for John Legend into really creating all these different products? Like, what are some of the other products you design, and what are the most popular ones?
So this all actually stemmed from my senior collection at SCAD. This was over a course of a whole year, and it really started. I noticed that vintage luggage has its own scratches and markings, and I was like, wow, that's somebody's story. How can I actually put people's stories onto the accessories? So that sparked my idea of, wow, let me take the journey of my family members and what they've been through and put that onto the accessories. So that's really what sparked, I guess, Morgan Rhea and who it is today. That collection was called Silently Speaking Gratitude. Mm-hmm. So it was speaking, your accessory is speaking before you ever have to say a word. It's created to make a conversation. So when you're out walking around, you have this, purse and it has writing on it. And hopefully it sparks that conversation and, it gets that conversation going. You meet a new person, you hear their story. So that's really where it started. And I have to say, like, our most popular items, it really just depends on, the season, what's going on. Our My Story bracelets probably is the number one because you're able to stack them on your wrist. People put different quotes, different dates that are special to them. Our Mary Crossbody is a popular item as well. You can take it, a lot of people traveling. I wear mine every day. We have a phone pocket in the back. You don't even have to have a wallet because we built that into the bag. As well as our Charlie tote is probably our other popular one. But it really just depends on the time and season of the year.
It depends, that right?
Yep, it does.
So what challenges, if any, have you encountered as a woman, a young woman in business, trying to get going, trying to, whether it's finding space, capital, a team to work with? Have you encountered any challenges and how did you overcome them?
I think our biggest challenge was in 2018, we actually had a fire. So the equipment that we use, the laser cutter, it actually caught on fire after hours. So we weren't in the building. And with that, it turned the sprinkler system on.
Oh my.
So we literally lost everything, our leather, just all of our products, everything. And that was right before Christmas time. So right before our busiest season of the year. At first, obviously, we were devastated, but then we were able, to have faith, turn it around, because we could have quit right then and there and just, be done with it. But it gave us time to work on the business instead of in the business because, Michael and I are always working in the business. My family, we weren't really able to take that time and stop to work on it because we were always in it. So it, out of that devastation came, we switched our thinking. We're like, how do we come back even stronger and have a better vision?
I like that, working on it.
Yeah.
Not in it. So that's almost like stepping back.
Yes.
And really trying to envision what the future of the business is, would be. That's pretty powerful there. So what advice do you have for other women who may be considering turning their hobby into a business? It could be, or maybe they're in school and trying to figure out what major they want to pursue. Like, what advice do you have for women considering business ownership?
I think, it's a little scary at first, but if it's something that you love and you want to pursue, I would say go for it. There's so many women in the industry and they went for it, and don't be afraid to reach out to them and ask them questions because, they've gone before you and, they know the ropes and things to do, and just don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone and say, hey, how did you do this? And maybe they can point you into the right direction of speaking to the right people that can help you for what you need.
So really looking to other women for, mentorship, probably, would you say?
Yep. I'm fortunate enough to be surrounded by women in my family, and my mother, she's an entrepreneur. So I'm able to, bounce ideas off of her all the time in my family. But if you don't have that, reach out to, there's so many women on this platform of entrepreneurship, and just reach out and say, I'm looking to do this. How could you help me or be willing to help me?
Right. Because I'm thinking right off, there's a women's business center in Charleston here in West Virginia that I know is available to women who are considering business ownership. Yes. Yeah. I've noticed that you have a philanthropic thrust in your business.
Yes.
Why don't you talk some about that and, tell the audience what prompted you to do that and why is it important to you?
So that is actually called our gratitude campaign. And we do that with different charities and individuals each month. So we raise money for the current charity, we promote it, and we're able to use our platform almost in a silent way, meaning, we sell the bracelets, the platform, the charity, they choose a quote, they might use their logo, a tagline that supports them. And with people buying the bracelet, we've also added in our canvas totes to this as well. they're able to carry that or wear the bracelet. And that goes back to what I said earlier. They're out and they have this quote and it sparks that conversation, and they're able to, maybe tell about their mission and their charity and just spread awareness about what they're doing. So we started that almost in the very beginning of Morgan Rhea in 2000. I think it was in 2016 is when we first started. And so far we've sold over 1,000 bracelets, going back to different charities. So it's been great. We love doing it every month because it's helping to spread awareness not only to other people, but to ourselves, Morgan Rhea, places we don't even know about that we're able to give back to.
Mm-hmm. So you started the business in 2015?
2015, yep.
2015, that's right. Okay. So what would you say are some of your keys to success in business?
I think I'm a very organized person. I like to stay organized. That's just how I keep going forward. I think my number one thing is staying organized. And, in Morgan Rhea, Michael and I, we do everything. We make the product. We have to source the leather, source the hardware. We are the person talking to you on the other side of the telephone, the email. When the order comes through, we have to, get that made, get that out, take it to the post office. So staying organized really helps that aspect of our business. And I think also, realizing that not everyone is going to be your customer, and that's okay. That was something that we had to learn in the beginning, finding out who our customer was, and not everybody is your customer. Right. And that, that's all right. But just finding who your niche client is and how you want to better serve them.
Okay. So are your customers mainly in West Virginia, or do you have an online?
Yeah, we actually sell all over the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's awesome. Any order that surprised you? Did an order come from a certain place that surprised you, where you said, how did they find out about us?
I'm trying to think back to, we just get so many different orders from all over. And we just actually sent a bracelet, I think it was to Delaware. And we thought, well, that's kind of a random place. Just places like that. We have family in California and Florida. So we always think, well, maybe they've heard through the grapevine about Morgan Rhea. But when you get them for those odd spots where you don't know anybody, you do like a little happy dance, like, oh, I wonder how they heard about us.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So now you've been around since 2015. So what do you know now that you wish you knew when you first launched back then?
I think when you're just starting out with the business, you're just so overwhelmed, and, taking the time to, even do a meditation every morning. I listen to podcasts when I'm in the shower every morning. I try to listen to something new. And I think that really helps, like, oh, wow, there are other people going through this, or just learning from them. And in the beginning, I think wishing that I knew, it was going to be all right. You weren't, hustling, every day, trying to figure out who's this new customer, where are we going to put, these are things we still worry about, but learning, those daily practices that help you every day. And I think my go-to is listening to podcasts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Now you went to school in Georgia and you came back home to your home state. What keeps you, we often see the data where our population in West Virginia is shrinking.
Yes.
What keeps you in West Virginia, you and your business? What keeps you in West Virginia?
West Virginia is always, this is where my roots are. This is where my family is. I always say when I travel and come back to West Virginia and you see the mountains, they feel like they're hugging you. And it's always a place, you get that sense of comfort in West Virginia. And I have to say, I feel like everybody in West Virginia is always friendly, helping spread the word about Morgan Rhea. And it's just having that sense of comfort and home coming back here is what, brought us to West Virginia. Because Michael, he's from Vero Beach, Florida. So we could have went to Florida as well, or stayed in Georgia, or even New York. But we wanted to come back home and start Morgan Rhea in West Virginia.
That's awesome. Awesome. So who works with you in addition to Michael? Does your mom work with you and other family members?
Yeah, pretty much all of them. My mom comes in, she helps us pack stuff during West Virginia Day. That's one of our busiest days of the year. We have grandmothers coming in, helping us package. My aunt, she works with us almost daily. My dad, he has a job, but when he can come in, he helps the business. My brother and sister-in-law, they help when we first started, they helped us, but they've actually moved away since then. But it's definitely a family business, that's for sure.
That's awesome. Awesome to have the support of your family, isn't it?
It is truly grateful and blessed with that.
We know that you have an online presence. So in addition to online, where can someone purchase your products?
We are located in 12 different stores. Some are in West Virginia. We're in Georgia, Colorado, and Virginia. Those can be found on our website under the Where to Shop MR tab.
Okay, good. So it's all there.
Yeah.
What's next for you? For the Morgan Rhea line of products.
We're hoping to, step outside of our comfort zone and expand. And that, the only way to grow is to, unfortunately, step out of that comfort zone where you want to stay. But in order to grow, you got to keep going forward and spread your horizons and spread your vision. So hopefully that's the next step for Morgan Rhea.
Okay, awesome. So as you look to, think about businesses in West Virginia and you see everything that's happening in the world, what gives you hope? What keeps you pressing forward, where you get up every day and work your business and, keep thinking, like what moves you forward?
I think being able to serve people in a way that, brings me joy every day. We are able to make accessories and tell people's story. And for that, that's an art to me and Michael, and being able to do that every day. We make bracelets for somebody who's passed away. They memorize them by putting their name on a bracelet. Or we celebrate weddings by putting the wedding date. There's just different things that every day, we do learn hardships from people. They write to us and I want to get this, accessory for somebody whose father who's passed away. And so we get both sides of it. But I think the joy in what we do is that gives us hope that we are, touching somebody's life with something that we've made from our heart and what we enjoy.
Right, and made with your own hands. It's something special about that.
Yes.
Any parting words for the audience?
I think I'd like to part with my favorite quote, and that is, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. Be
kind. That is wonderful. Thank you so much, Morgan Rhea, and I know I'll see you in the community somewhere.
Yes, thank you so much, Michelle, for having me.
All righty, take care.